Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded NHL Conference Finals Show. I'm your host, Eric. My main man over there. Oh, wrong way this time. Ron, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty well. I,
Um,
I I gotta say, I'm excited for both the NHL, of course, and the NBA.
right. We've got so much to cover when it comes to just the NHL, and you think about what's transpired in the last week. Yesterday alone, right? So we
Oh,
finally got the fourth team into the conference finals, which was the New York Rangers, beating the Carolina Hurricanes in a game seven in Carolina, who hadn't lost at home. So you think about all
absolutely.
that's transpired. But we're going to start off in the West because I think this West series actually is starting today, about 20 minutes from now, and that is the Colorado Avalanche versus the Edmonton Oilers. When you talk about just sheer scoring that should happen in this series, it should be unreal. Colorado in the regular season won 2-1, 2.3 goals for, 3 goals against. So they actually, the game they did lose, they lost pretty big.
Right.
15.4% on the power play, 100% on the penalty kill. So they Edmonton was unable to score on the power plays, whereas 84.6% Edmonton on the penalty kill. So we know it's a new season, though. A lot has changed since
Every
the regular season.
series, every series is like a new season. I mean, look, if somebody would have told me that Edmonton is going to be your conference final team to play against Colorado, I would have laughed at you. And I know I did several times when we talked about them.
Yes, you have.
So, look, I mean, I thought, the only two teams that legitimately had a chance to beat Colorado was Calgary or St. Louis. And here we are. Colorado disposed of St. Louis, and Edmonton defeated Calgary and made them look like
Yeah.
a team that was not even a contender.
Yeah. So you talk about goal scoring. Both of these teams have been able to put a lot of points up. Colorado leading the playoffs 34.5% from the power play. So you think about it.
It's
Do not
incredible.
go a man down against Colorado. They
Right.
are going to put the puck in the net. They are playing phenomenal. Their 2.70 goals against is third in the playoffs. So again, not giving up a lot of goals. But then you talk about McDavid, Draisaitl leading the playoffs with 26 points each,
It's craziness.
right? And Evander Kane, 12 goals, leads the playoffs.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the perfect storm right now, you've got a team that's very good against the penalties versus a team that can obviously score at will. It seems like, can Edmonton win this series?
Look, I'm not going to doubt them anymore. Not going to doubt them because they obviously have enough scoring punch where they can. With that being said, do I think they can beat Colorado? I don't think they can beat Colorado in a 7-game series, but I'm telling you, this is going to be a barn burner of a series. Like this is look, the NHL, if anybody won, NHL won. This is a win, 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 win in all four categories of the teams that are in there. Because
So you got,
A,
yeah,
you have Colorado,
yeah, who
who
was
is
the
the
top
best team,
team? Yep,
right? Yeah. Okay. You have B,
team
the
from
Stanley.
Canada.
Well, no,
Uh,
the Stanley Cup champions.
yeah, oh yeah,
That
yes, oh yeah,
that.
going for three, yes.
Then you have a Canadian team that has arguably one of the best players to ever play.
Yeah. So they try. Listen, you fit it. They want to showcase McDavid at all costs. Him getting this far,
Right.
honestly, gives them more of an opportunity to get his name out there.
And the other win, Eric, you have the biggest market of them
Okay. Oh
all,
yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
New York Rangers,
Right.
who, when
Weren't
you
expected
look
to
at
be
this
here at
team,
all.
you look at this team, I mean, it's hard not to like them. It's hard not to like them. They're a team that blossomed early, as everybody says, and doesn't think There's a lot of people out there that don't think they even belong there right now. But I'm not one of those people, because when you have Shesterkin in those pipes, yeah, anything can happen, and we keep saying it over and over and over. But that is got something to look at when we get to that matchup.
Yeah.
But
so the individual I really feel bad for. Let's get back to that Colorado Avalanche.
yes,
Darcy Kemper,
yes.
2.4 goals against. So he's phenomenal. He's been phenomenal in playoffs. But you could also say he hasn't faced the firepower that he's going to face.
No.
So if anybody might need therapy once this is all said and done, it may be him, because I'm sure he's going to be facing a lot of shots.
And this is the scary part of it all. You look at that Colorado team, and okay, so they can match the firepower, and they do it a little differently. They start it in the back end, as the defensemen on that roster from top to bottom are scoring. I mean, they've gotten the most points out of the defensemen than any other team in the playoffs. So they're generating it from their own end all the way up ice, and that's how they generate a lot of their offense, by that mobility. But when you look at Edmonton, and when you get the Draisaitl line going, and you get the McDavid line going, you're looking at just constant pressure, and boom, it could happen just like that. And when you look at Darcy Kemper's numbers, his save percentage is only .904, which is kind of alarming, to be honest with you. When you look at Smith, who's .927, faces a lot of shots. Look, they're used to it because the defense isn't as good. But they've been stepping up, and they stepped up big time against Calgary. And I'll tell you, they've changed from like when they played the Kings. Like they scraped by to beat the Kings, and then they go into Calgary, and it was like lights out.
Yeah. So Edmonton leading team goals for 4.33 in the playoffs. So the crazy thing is, though, Colorado 4.30.
Yeah.
Both of these teams are the top scoring teams in the playoffs. So to me, what is Colorado? McKinnon, obviously 8 goals, been their leader, as he should be. Do they have enough otherwise to match, obviously, the firepower that Edmonton has? You're talking about 3 guys now on Edmonton versus just
if you want
McKinnon.
to count Hyman. Hyman has been playing great for them, and that's big in itself. I mean, when you expect the offense all to come from, Kane and Draisaitl and McDavid. But here's Hyman stepping up, and Zach Hyman has been playing fantastic, and he's got a 5-game goal streak right now. Like,
you want to get in the playoffs. Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. And that's where games are won, is from players like that, that step up, and we've seen it throughout all these playoffs with all these teams, and look, when you're talking Rangers, you talk Chris Kreider, the power play is just incredible. Well, it's been coming from elsewhere, so those are how games are won, by people stepping up. And Colorado, they have that offensive punch, but it's generated, through all of them. But that third and fourth line has been playing pretty well, and that's the depth for Colorado that ultimately, overcomes, that scoring punch from 2 lines, because you can get it from all 4 in Colorado, and that is just too much to overcome, in my opinion. But Smith could be the big factor, because he's playing better than Kemper, and that's big. And we've seen it. We've already seen it in the playoffs. The goaltenders matter.
Without a doubt, yeah.
And if Kemper is going to be the worst goaltender in these conference finals, it's possible Edmonton could pull off the upset.
Yeah. And again, listen, Kemper's played very well in the playoffs. But again, you're talking about the offensive firepower of Edmonton and what they were able to just, if you look at the share, scoring that they had against Calgary, which we didn't expect.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes interesting. I'd also say this is like a tale of two different series. If you look at the West, this is definitely an offensive series. You're looking at goal scoring. You're looking at, high output of shots. On the back in the Eastern Conference should be a defensive, juggernaut where both of these teams don't give up a lot of goals, don't score a lot of goals. Two of the best goaltenders in the league now.
That's why they don't score.
Right? What a difference of two. It's like going to be watching two different. You would expect.
Yeah.
Completely two different. You're like, this isn't hockey. This is hockey. Wait, no, that's hockey. This isn't. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that defense, all right. So in Colorado, obviously we have Makar and Taves, and that's the backbone of their team, and they put up points, but Byram and Manson and Eric Johnson, they're all contributing. Colorado only has 2 players that are minuses. Dude,
wow.
One's a -1 and one is a -2.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
And you could actually not even play them. It's like you just like that's a solid team, and that's why I ultimately think that Colorado will just have a little bit more than Edmonton because their main defenseman in Edmonton, Bouchard, Keith, there's a lot of experience there, but they're both at -3. All the other defensemen are all pluses, and Ceci has to have an amazing series. He's a +9, and Nurse, who has been nothing short of an all-star in the playoffs, is a +11 for Edmonton. Wow. So expect those two guys to get a lot of playing time because you got to put your best defensive players out there. And even though like Duncan Keith has, the chops and, and all the experience and being a solid player, he's still a -3, even though he's probably playing against the top lines, but you still got to be a positive because that's how you end up winning. And, this team struggled, like I said, against the Kings, and then they just took it to Calgary. And, Duncan Keith needs to be better. He needs to be better because you can't just count on your 2 main guys and say, hey, we're going to stop, Colorado because they're going to be shuffling out 4 lines that can score.
Yeah. And that's where it becomes difficult. So normally how we do each show on Fridays, we do a prediction. And I'm sure we'll be predicting some of these games. But I'm going to ask you right now to give me your prediction. Who wins this series between Colorado and Edmonton?
Look, I think Colorado wins. This is a scary one, though.
But you also didn't expect Edmonton to be here, and you didn't pick them, prior to this. Yeah, Calgary. I think we both picked Calgary.
Yeah.
To win that series.
Yeah. So I'm not. This is a very scary Colorado win.
Yeah.
And I'll say in 6. Although I gotta feel, it could go 7. It could go 7, but it could be out in 4. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. I mean,
and if you I'll
go with Colorado.
And if you had to pick one of the 2 stars, McKinnon or McDavid, who's going to be more crucial for their team to win this series?
McKinnon is going to be more crucial because if he doesn't match McDavid, it could be over fast for Colorado. Because if McDavid is scoring, Colorado's in trouble. Because then they can't slow him down. And if they're not slowing him down, they're not slowing down the others. Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about this East series. And the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are going for their 3rd straight Stanley Cup, will face the young, up-and-coming New York Rangers, who nobody expected to be here. Again, you think about what they've accomplished, beating,
That's that was a tall
The
task.
Carolina Hurricanes. Yeah, Kenny's jumped on there. He agrees. But you think about just how they got here, and the fact that they're playing such good hockey at the right time. But it's a team effort.
I'm gonna put this out there for you. Now, they were down 3-1 to Pittsburgh, came back and won in 7. They were down 2-0, of course, to Carolina, and they came back 1 in 7. The last time a team did this was in 2011, the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins played all 4 series, went to 7 games. And they had to come back in all 4 series. And then finally won the Stanley Cup. Yes, they won against Vancouver, down a couple of games to Vancouver. And they came back and won in 7 in Vancouver. Then Vancouver proceeded to burn down their city.
But if it's one thing, to your point, resiliency, being able to get through even when you're down to come back and win.
Right.
But I would say the same thing with Tampa now. If you look at the fact that, again, they haven't had as good of regular season.
Nope. Everybody doubted them, even us.
They came back into the playoffs. All of a sudden, they turned into the Tampa Bay Lightnings that won 2 straight Stanley Cups.
Yes, and it's interesting, too, because I will finish my Ranger thing with the Bruins in a minute.
Okay,
but
I'm sorry.
But no. We talked about Tampa Bay, going out, first round. It looked pretty grim at first. And then when they pulled out that series, we both kind of looked at each other and like, oh boy, that was their opportunity. That was the league's opportunity to knock them out.
Yep.
And they didn't do it. And when you don't knock out a champion, what happens? That champion just is a menace. And
we've seen, look, Florida, best team in the league.
Yeah. Oh, they destroyed them.
We assumed that was going to be the series.
Nope.
And shell of themselves, Tampa Bay looked like the champions again.
Yeah.
So it's just you don't know which way it's so you said it. I think the Rangers are that underdog story that everybody likes and wants to see win. But at the same time, the Tampa Bay Lightning, you kind of feel bad that everybody's doubted them, and it's like they were the underdogs going into this playoff series, or the playoffs in general, and people were like, they can't do it again. It's not going to happen. And all of a sudden, it's like you don't know who to root for in this series.
Exactly. And we were like, they were lucky they even got the 3rd seed because the Bruins were knocking on their heels. And if the Bruins would have played all their players in the last game, they could have won and knocked them to go against Carolina. That would have been the best thing for Boston. But that's not how it played out. And now we're looking at the Rangers, who, like, when you look at that team, it just oozes that 2011 Bruins team because it has all of the makings of that team that was just loaded with talent, and, back then, 2011, that's an 11 years younger Bergeron.
Yeah.
Like, the talent level that they were at, you'll look at this Ranger team and you see that talent level. You see Zibanejad, you see Kreider, you see Fox, you see Shesterkin, you see all these guys stepping up, and they all have those key elements of that Bruins team, that resilient, that they're never out of it. No matter what, they're never out of it. And here they are. And they got to play against the Stanley Cup champions. And are they going to go down? But here's the great thing for them. They're the home team at first.
Right. Which is kind of, it's a strange system, and the points that ended up giving them home ice in this series is really
number 2 seed. They're a number 2 seed. Yeah. They were battling for that conference title, and they fell short, and then they were battling for that division title, and then they lost to Carolina in the last week of the season and just missed out on that. But here they are. They're still doing it, knocking off Pittsburgh, knocking off Carolina. It's a tough road. It's a very tough road that they've had.
if this is they've had some hurdles.
Yeah.
Again, we talked about that Carolina series and how well Carolina played at home. And for some reason, again, you start to see that you said, okay, they couldn't do it. But we talked about it prior to, if there was one team we felt was going to be able to win their series being down 3-2, it was the Rangers. They were able to come back. But now you're starting to look at the fact that you're facing the defending 2-time champion.
Yeah.
So that hurdle just got a lot bigger.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't win at home or beat a team on the road in Carolina. Now you've got to go in and beat the 2-time defending champion.
Yes, that intimidation factor. Remember, back when the Patriots won 2 in a row and they come in and it's like, oh my God, we got to play the Patriots this week. So I should start making plans for the end of the season, right? That's basically what people are looking at. But the Rangers are not doing that. They're not backing down. Look, I like the way they built this Ranger team. And I remember way back at the beginning of the season when we did our preview show, and I said, this team is going to be really good.
Yeah, you did.
And I said, they're going to contend in this division, and I knew they were going to make the playoffs. I didn't think they would be this impactful because of, how they just putting this team together, and it wasn't supposed to be ready now. Well, the players didn't get that memo. The players are ready.
That is a fact. So let me ask you, can I ask you this question, Ron? The Rangers beat the Lightning 3-0 in the regular season, only giving up 1.3 goals in the series. Is that a sign of how well they match up against the Lightning? Or again, do we say we've got to wipe out do the Men in Black, put the pen up, and just erase what we saw in the regular season because Tampa's a different team now?
Yeah, you have to. And if the Rangers don't do that, they're going to get blindsided, basically. Because you can never discount any play of a Stanley Cup champion for the past 2 seasons. You can't. You can't. And when you have that goaltender that can match your goaltender save for save.
Vasilevsky, if you look at 2.2 goals against in the playoffs, 93 save percentage. Shesterkin, 2.68, 92 save percentage. Yeah. They're like top 5 in the playoffs, both of these goalies.
Yeah.
It's just Tampa Bay, 2.45 goals against in the playoffs. That's the second best in the playoffs. They're not giving up a lot of goals. Rangers 3. They're giving up 3 goals. You're not going to see a lot of scoring in this series. Who's going to be key? Because right now, if you look at Tampa Bay, 87.8% on the penalty kill, but which is third. The Rangers 32.5% on the power play, which is second. Something has to give. If you had to decide of those two, which one would you say would be most likely the other team could take advantage of?
The Rangers power play can outdo the Tampa Bay
penalty
killing. Yeah, absolutely. And it's just because of the presence in front of the net, the presence of players' ability to seek out the puck on rebounds. When you got Chris Kreider, who's a power play machine, and you haven't seen that since probably outside of Ovechkin and Dave Andreychuk. Back in the day when Andreychuk would just park himself in front of that net. He was so big you can't move him. He's so strong, it's like you just can't budge him. And he'd just sit there, shot on net, pick up the rebound, score. That's what he did. He made a living doing that. And you saw that in the game against Carolina in Game 7, with Chris Kreider just parked out in front of the net, tip, score. Look, that's what he does. That's what he does. And he just picks up those loose pucks, and he's just a power play machine out there. And that could ultimately be the demise of Tampa Bay, just like it was the demise of Carolina, because that's exactly how Carolina lost.
And
It's that
Mickey
power
just
play.
right. So Shesterkin had 2 bad games against Pittsburgh. Since then, 1.66.
Oh
goals
yeah,
against.
no, he got pulled to back-to-back games, and he's been unbelievable since then. So that 920 something save percentage was throughout all the playoffs and included
Yeah,
those 2
yeah.
horrible games.
So can I say this with the Rangers? The best thing that happened was that triple overtime.
Oh my God, yes.
Because if you think about the just sheer will to try to hang on to a win, I think that honestly helped them in these playoffs because I don't think they ever got a moment that got too big for them where they said, we can't do this.
Yeah.
You got through. Yes, you lost that game,
Right.
but it showed you belong there. And when you're young and you're unsure, it's similar to what the Celtics are doing now in the NBA, the getting into the finals. They were young and so many times where they made those mistakes and weren't able to get over the hump.
You
The
know what
Rangers,
this
the
reminds
same
me
thing.
of? Eric, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No, that's okay.
what it reminds me of, remember that long game where the Red Sox brought in Evaldi late in that game because they had nobody else, and they brought in him, and he pitched 4 innings in relief. They lost in extra innings, but because he saved arms, the Red Sox went on to do great things in that playoff series, and they won that series. That's what that triple overtime was like. The Rangers, yes, they lost that game, but what they said is like, we had chances to win this game.
We belong here. I think that's ultimately what it helped them say, we belong in these playoffs. Yeah, we might be a young team. People say we're not ready, but guess what? We're showing that we're playing a very good Pittsburgh team who's been here, done that. We talked about consecutive years in the playoffs. What is 16 years? I think the Pittsburgh Penguins in the playoffs. So you can't say, well, they don't. They know how to get here. They know how to be in the playoff. We don't, and yet we're still hanging with this kind of quality team. That gave them such confidence that to me, it makes a difference.
It does. It does. And when you look at the matchups in this series, it's crazy, right? I mean, you look at Shesterkin versus Vasilevsky, but we have Hedman. Oh, wait, we have Fox. And let me tell you, Fox was my pick for the Norris Trophy. He should, of course. There's no way. He's my favorite defenseman in the league right now. Yes, I love, McAvoy, and he, hits hard. He's a Bruin, right? If he develops anything like Fox, oh my God. Like Fox is clearly the best defenseman. This is only his 3rd year. He's already won a Norris Trophy, and he's up for another one. It's like, it's ridiculous. And then you look at the forwards, and it's like, you have Stamkos and you have Kucherov, but they are getting up there in the years. And you have these budding superstars in Zibanejad, and Kreider. Like, Kreider blossomed late in his career, but he's still got that young, body because he blossomed late.
Yep.
So he wasn't getting a lot of playing time until recently, like really recent, and so you have this stellar team, and don't forget they still have other talent, like the bread man, I mean, this is a team that it's got a lot of talent on it, and it's sprinkled all over the lineup.
So I'm going to keep asking you these tough, hard-hitting questions, but Vasilevsky or Shesterkin, who has to be better in their series for their team to win?
Vasilevsky, because if he's not as good as Shesterkin, the Rangers are winning. Because I think ultimately the Rangers are more talented up front, and it's that power play. I can't see them slowing it down. They haven't to this point, and I don't think it's going to happen. And I ultimately think the Rangers are going to take this.
So I was going to ask you your prediction. So you're going Rangers.
I'm going Rangers.
And
I really like this team.
And I love my man Mickey. I know he's out there watching. but unfortunately, I can't go
Can't go against
against
Tampa
Tampa
Bay. I
Bay
know.
now. I just feel like, look, they still got the best goaltender out of the two. It's we're talking, minimal,
Yeah.
but Vasilevsky's been there in the finals and won them.
He's
So,
going to have to do a lot more than Shesterkin.
and I think Tampa Bay can kill the power play a little better than most teams. I think that's going to make a difference. So I know for a fact that we are going to do a NHL Finals, Stanley Cup Finals show. So we'll pick those once that comes. But you've got Colorado going against the Rangers. I've got Colorado going against Tampa.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun though. These should be some great series. I mean, if you can't get into NHL hockey at this point, you're never gonna get into it because these four teams. To your point, Ron, I think the NHL was luckier than they've ever been.
Yeah, I mean,
each team has a story now.
Yes.
Each team. Colorado has dominated the entire season.
Yeah.
Now you're playing one of the best offensive teams with the best young star in the league.
Yeah.
So
just who they want in there, right?
You got your story.
When you look at that West,
yeah,
and you're like, gee, we could have St. Louis, we have O'Reilly there, okay. Oh wait, Minnesota Wild would have been intriguing because then you have, what's his face, Kirill the Thrill, but Kirill the Thrill is not McDavid.
No.
So I mean, what other team? Calgary, yeah, you have some offensive power. Kachuk, but it's not McDavid. No. You want McDavid and Draisaitl in this playoffs, and getting Colorado versus Edmonton is exactly what they wanted. Yeah. Exactly. Then you look, we have the Stanley Cup champions playing over there.
And to me now, the Tampa Bay, New York, it's the Club of Lang versus Rocky and Rocky 3, right before, and you can't win Rock, and that's the Rangers, like you can't win. Because you got the Lightning who just, are beating up everybody for the last 2 years. Can they be that Rocky 3 where, again, at the end, who came through? Yeah. So it's such a fun series. That one alone is going to be, thrilling. I mean.
Yeah, because you look at the rosters and it's like, look, not to take anything away from the Rangers, but they look out of place. But what makes it so intriguing is they are the biggest market.
Yeah.
And again, that is a win for the NHL because they have the New York Rangers playing.
I would say this. I was at work today and somebody was passing by. They actually were talking about hockey, and it was pretty funny. I almost wanted to plug Sports Unfolded. I didn't. I got a responsibility in my job too. But I said the funny thing about it was that like nobody respects the New York market anymore. Right, because you got the Knicks, you got the Islanders looked horrible this year,
next year,
right? But now you got the Yankees, the Mets, who have started to make some noise, but again, haven't won in a while.
Yep.
And then now all of a sudden the Rangers, and it's like nobody's giving them a shot because it's New York and they don't really count. But this Rangers team's different.
It is different.
It's a different New York team.
I compare them to 2011. Look, this team just has all the makings of that kind of a run.
And even though I'm rooting, I'm picking Tampa Bay. I'm not even saying I'm rooting for Tampa Bay. I'm picking Tampa Bay. I wouldn't, again, and I've said it before, I'm not putting all my money, all my chips are not going in because I still feel like I said the Rangers would beat Carolina in Carolina, which nobody had done in the playoffs.
Not even me.
So I feel like, look, this series is so close. It's too close to call. It's one of those. We'd have to go back. If this was an election right now, we'd have to go back and recount because it's too close to call. There's no either team. There's all their strengths go against the others, and then you got the two best goaltenders.
Yeah.
So it should be a lot of fun. Mickey's rooting for Edmonton versus the Rangers. He wants to see McDavid versus Igor. So that should be fun, right? That would be an interesting matchup.
I don't know if Igor is looking forward to that.
Oh, man. So, Ron, any hockey wisdom you want to leave us with before we end our show today?
Yeah, I gotta say that congratulations to Team Czechia, who
Right.
they defeated the United States in
Pasternak.
Pasternak got
Beat
a
your boy Swayman.
against Swayman, who had a nightmare game, 8-3 or something like that. It was ridiculous. So Pasternak and David Krejci reunited out there, and according to sources, he is trying to recruit Krejci for next year.
Back to the Bruins.
So again, could this slow down the progress of the Bruins? I know if you're hearing Krejci, if there's talks about him coming back to Boston, that will definitely mean that Bergeron is coming back, because Bergeron will not leave if he knows that Krejci's coming back. But they're going to need a center.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of talk that some players are going. They're going to trade Carlo, Grzelcyk, somebody for a top center.
Okay.
So look for that to come to Boston. So you'll probably see Carlo gone.
All right.
Most
All
likely.
right.
That's my
So
prediction.
I just wanted to thank everybody who joined live tonight. I want to let everyone know that's going to watch in the future here. Check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are live every Friday night at 6 p.m. on Rhode Island Broadcasting. Our regular show, which we cover all the sports and all the top topics from the week, and give our predictions, our pick and roll. We have so many fun segments, the triple play. So check that out. Check out our social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram, Sports Unfolded on MeWe. We do a lot on MeWe now. Really excited about that as well. Listen to us on our podcast on Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify, TuneIn, and Red Circle. Right? So many different ways to watch and listen. We are having such a blast doing these. We just released our Major League Baseball rankings and Mickey, my baseball guy, already Yankees are clubbing Thor, so that's a good sign. We'll take that as well. But so excited about what we've got going on here with Sports Unfolded. So, Ron, I want to thank you.
Hey, also sponsors. Look.
Yep.
I would love to see a twig company, hockey stick company, like maybe Koho, which is the stick that I used to use when I played. I remember it. I got those black Koho sticks. Oh my God, I loved them. So it would be nice if one of those companies would come out and sponsor, either the hockey show or maybe some Wilson, company can sponsor, either the NBA or baseball show or Sports Unfolded. So
without a doubt.
Let us know, man. I would love to have sponsors.
Yeah. ribroadcasting.media@gmail.com.
Yes.
So, email us, let us know. We will definitely get you the information, what it would cost. It's less than a cup of coffee at some establishments.
Right.
So really excited about that. Stay tuned. We got our NBA Finals show coming up with Kenny. Ron, if you'd like to join, I know you got some Celtic stuff.
Oh my God, yeah.
You'd love to join in with that. So we're going to be on shortly with that as well. And then Friday night, 6 p.m., big show. We'll be talking about NHL Playoffs, NBA Finals. There'll already be a game. One is Thursday night there, so we'll be discussing that. Besides any Major League Baseball topics, NFL news. So a lot going on this week. Ron, thank you as always for your hockey knowledge and insight. I mean, you're amazing. You are my Yankee, my hockey guru, my Yankee. Great job, great show. Thank you, Mick. We appreciate the comments. We love you guys, your fans. Mickey, my baseball guy. Kenny, our basketball guy as well, helping grow Sports Unfolded. You guys have been amazing, so thank you for that. Ron, I will see you shortly for our next show.
Alrighty.
All right, my friend. You have a great night.
Take care, everybody.
Fans out there, peace.